G'day, how you going? This is Ian Harris, Australia here, just dropping in. AKA Ianapolis, your acrylic guru. Did you see that picture we just put up on the opening credits, that beautiful little owl? Well, that's what we're going to paint today. I'll teach you how to paint that with some nice blending movements, alright? But before we get started, I better tell you what size canvas board we're using for those people who like to know numbers, alright? There they are there. And just to the side there, we'll get a list of the colours going up the screen for you, alright? So, going to be pretty basic, simple colours here. So virtually, I want to start off with the background, and then we'll bring the owl in front of all that, alright? So you can have whatever background you like. A moon background, a dark background, or an evening, afternoon background. Something that suits an owl anyway, alright? Well, let's get into it. Because I want my background to have a bit of blending, I'm going to start off with priming up my canvas paperboard there with some flowing white paint. It's just a soft body white paint, and I'm going to use a flat 2-inch brush just to apply it to the canvas. Because I want to get some dioxine and phthalo blue colours into this, so we'll put this, just crisscross it all onto your canvas board or your canvas. Now this one I'm using is actually a paper canvas I've glued to some heavy cardboard, so I'm not going to give it a mist of water because the water just runs across the surface of a paper canvas. Well, when it's a canvas, it can absorb in and give you some moisture. Now see there, I've just brushed the strokes out of there nicely like a gentleman, just like that. Back down on the palette I've got some phthalo blue with some retarder in there, and I want to get this all onto the brush. And just here I've got some dioxine purple and my blending brushes here ready to go. So I'm going to have my owl here and probably a moon here, because an owl and a moon always go together. So we'll get some of the phthalo blue into here, and I want to get it right into those crisscrosses of the canvas paper there. That'll do. I'll just go like this, and then I'm going to pick up a blending brush and a rag. Make sure when you pick up a blending brush, if you're blending the way I do, you need a rag to wipe off the build-up of paint as you're blending. Now I'm picking up some of the dioxine purple on that brush. I've just washed that brush out, and we'll get some of this in the corners now. So I'm going to crisscross it into there, pick some more up, get it there. This is just a simple colour, and some at the bottom. I should have maybe done a corner at a time in case this starts drying, because paper canvas tends to dry the acrylic medium quicker than a canvas. But anyway, let's see how we go. I'm picking up my blending brush, and I'm going to blend, I want to blend this dioxine purple and vein it into that blue, just so we've got a dark border around the edge there. See what that's done? Now, this is acrylic. Why has that happened like that? It's because I primed the board up with the flow white and retarder, conditioned the canvas for it to happen like this. If you have a dry canvas, panel, board, whatever, and you just put acrylic on there and expect it to blend like that, not going to happen. So this is going to blend softly together. Over here, we'll blend this into the phthalo blue. Just so as we're getting that evening kind of dark sky. And you can sort of tell it's like, well, it's only 7 o'clock or it's midnight. It's just whatever time you want the sky to be at night. But at least it's not a sunshiny day, because I don't think owls are out during the day. Alright, now let's get some night misty colours in there, okay? Back down on my palette, I'm using a small stiff bristled fan brush to apply the paint, and I'm using one of these blending brushes again. These blending brushes, I urge you to use them for blending only if you're purchasing these from me, because they're great for blending the way I blend in my tutorials. So add me on Facebook, and any painting or brushes you want to buy, you're welcome to message me and get the ball rolling. So we're going to pick up the titanium white now. There's no medium, that's the flowing white. This is the titanium white. Now I know my owl's going to be about here, so I could probably get something above him. People that have followed me for a long time, they understand how I do this mist. Okay, see that was that easy. I've stamped it on. Now I'm going to use the corner of this brush and try and manipulate that, twist it until it starts bringing the undercolours through. So it's changing it. Look what it's doing there. And that's because the way I conditioned this canvas board with the retarder and the flow white, and then I'm putting the colours on, it's allowing this to happen. Now this isn't clouds. Some cheeky buggers say, oh, your moon's in front of your clouds, but that's that far distant mist in space. This is just sky mist, giving it some sort of, whatever you want it to be, atmosphere in your sky, okay? But see that? We've got one-dimensional. See how easy that was? Now to step it up a notch, I'll first clean that brush so it's not got contaminated white in it. All right, we'll pick up some more the same way. And see, just do some passes along with it and off it. And it'll be giving that mist that you put there more of a two-dimensional. You got light and dark bits. See there? It's up to you how detailed you get in any procedure of a painting. But this is just adding that sort of night flavour to your sky. I love it. And we'll get somewhere the moon's going to go. So we're going to have our owl here, but I still want something to break up this dioxine purple here into the... So I like to spider web it through, and maybe a bit scurrying up there. Using the tip corner of the brush, blend a little bit and pull back and wipe your brush. Don't get carried away blending and not wiping your brush. This is a procedure in itself. You can sit back and practice. Because I'm not too sure if there's a lot of acrylic artists out there that blend the way I do. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But if there is, you can check and see what similarities they have to me or whatever may be different. And now we'll just bring this other bit in as well. See, when I'm twisting and blending, I'm not just keeping the brush in one spot like this. I'm moving the angles of it as I'm blending, okay? It just creates natural highs and lowlights of the paint. All right, we can muck around with that till the cows come home. Let's finish that now. Now we've got to blow dry it so we can put a moon on there, all right? Before I dry it though, I wouldn't mind sitting a few stars in the night sky. So I'm just getting a toothbrush and flicking some stars there. How we going? We all caught up? Now this is the part where we're going to put our moon over this side because our owl would sit over here. So hopefully you've got some templates made up. This is just normal A4 paper, but it was laminated, so it makes it like a plastic film, and I've cut out different sizes as well on here because I want a moon about this size and I want the moon to sit about here. Now this is dry so I don't get any contamination from anything. I want my moon about there, so I'll sit that about there and just lightly tape it on. Make sure everything's dry. Now for this stage you're going to need a decent household sponge and your grey. Let's use a bit of grey. I've got some carbon grey here somewhere. Got some carbon grey here, so I want to put some carbon grey onto my palette and some titanium white out of the tube because it's nice and rich white. It's not like the flow white where it's got low body to it. It's got density to it, okay? So I want to just lightly dampen the sponge so it's not so dry and wanting, all right? So come over here and we'll get this sponge loaded up, all right? So first off, I want to prime the moon up with white, and then I'll put my grey shadow in it and then highlight it with the white again. So the white and grey will mix. Now, that's pretty much how I want my sponge loaded up. Now I want my moon full on this side and if anything evaporating this side. That's just the way I want it. So I'm going to get this stamped on there like that. I'm holding the edges of my template so as it doesn't move, and I want to sort of bring it around that way. It's just all solid white. It might look a bit undetailed at the moment, but then we'll put the grey there. The grey, I'm just going to turn that sponge around and load up the grey on the other end of that sponge there. Now I want to put my grey here. Now it doesn't matter if I go too much into the white because the grey is going to mix with the white like so. See how it's gone toned? Try and make this evaporating edge a bit more neater. There we go. So we've got darker grey and lighter grey. Now I'm going back to the white on the other edge of the sponge, and I want to just highlight that main side now, bringing it around just like so, and a little bit's in the middle there, just so it looks a bit more realistic, okay? I want to get rid of that there. You can muck around with this as often as you want till you get it right. These are something else you can practice. Okay, that's pretty much highlighted the way I want it. Let's take it off and see how it looks. Okay, there's our moon with some greys in it as well. Okay, now if you feel you got some, like I've got a bit of a dicky edge here, you can just fix it up with a little detailed brush just to fix it up. And I might pick up a little bit of grey because I feel I could have had maybe a bit more grey in there, just like that, see? How's that looking in the monitor? That's fine. It looks stampy, but I like to wipe that little brush. This is one of my little blending brushes that I use. And I'm just sort of, this is just being pedantic and picky. All right, there we go. And we'll probably put a bit of white back in there as well. There's our moon. Now just to sink that moon down, I've got a little flathead brush. This started life out as a flathead brush, but over time it's fanned out and got a nice broader edge, and it's good for small blending. So I want to pick up some white and just get it off the brush just so we can sink that moon back, okay? Now don't put too much on your brush. I feel there's a lot on here still, so I'm going to wipe it a bit. And some of this mist, I can see that's very, see how bright that is? But near the moon it's going to be brighter anyway. And you can get some of this in front of the moon, just so it's like it's sitting it back, maybe somewhere here. You don't really want to muck around with this too much. How's that looking? And we'll put something down here. I'm just jiggling that around, highlighting some of that mist a bit more, just so it's giving that moon some sit back aspect. Alright, that's all we needed to do. Probably the tip of this will highlight that a bit more. There's not much on this brush. That's all we need to do. I want to probably just put a cloud, you know, at night time you have a cloud in front of the moon, so I'll make a cloud there. I'm grabbing this fan brush and I'm just loading it up, chiseling the paint onto it, just so I can get something coming across. See that white? It's whiter than the moon. It's going to stick out a lot more. Give him a bit of a tail like that. Grab that little blending brush and we'll just soften this just so it's looking like a cloud in front of that moon there. Tickle the tops a bit and bring it down into some fine soft cloud. Now see this paint, it's dry. You can see what's happened when it's not wet and retarded. I'm going to pick up a little bit of grey that's still on the board, dab that into the cloud, and then wipe this brush just so I can blend that grey into the white and down a bit as well. Okay, so we'll see I'm softening it into the white there. And we've got a nice soft cloud in the night sky there. Alright, this is dry. I can put the print layout of our owl. So I'll show you how. This is just the owl. You can use any owl. I found this owl on Pixabay. I'll show you the coloured version of it in a minute. And how we're going to transfer this onto there without any transfer paper or carbon paper. If you've got that, use it, but if you don't, you can do it against a window. So I've already done it, and you can see the outline edge. I want to just scrumple it in, scratch it in with your pencil where the eyes are against the lighted the window outside. You can see where you got to go, okay? Because I'm not going to do the whole. I just want the basic shape of our eye and the location of his eyes and his beak, okay? So this will be a simple way to transfer that onto your canvas without it looking crooked. Alright, everything's traced on the back there to get our transferring image, and work out where you want your... I want a bit of a tree ledge for him to sit on here, so we'll put this owl roughly where we want it. I want it about there. Make sure it's reasonably straight with your canvas. Or if you can do one freehand, this is just for those beginners that cannot. Now, I'll just do his beak. Now, I'm using a red pen. Why I use a red pen, it's a lot more precise and heavier at the point to push that ink, that lead graphite onto your canvas board. Now, you watch that little V there. You can see that as clear as day there. I can. And it doesn't hurt if you press heavy enough to put some indentations into your canvas panel. That way, if you've lost some of the lines, you could still see the marks there, okay? Now, I want to do just the basic outline of his eyes, his shape. I don't want to go and do all the basic, just like that for there, just like that for there. So and for his edge, I just want to just go like that all around his edge shape. I'm not going to try and do every little stroke there, okay? So at the end of the day, we're getting our outline there. Okay, I've finished that. Now you can see in the red pen just where I've done. Okay, I'm just in that areas. Now we'll pull it off. You'll be able to see the image transferred onto the painting there like that. Can you see that? And there's our location of his eyes, his beak, you know, the feathered breast under his chin there and his outline, all right? Now here's a reference picture that I'm using. I put my own background in there, not this sunlighted one. And these colours here, which is greys, I want to put them on and merge them together with the white and greys, not just have them meeting, okay? So this is going to be sort of a bluey grey with white, then he'll have a gold or yellow beaks and eyes. I've got me dark and the medium tone grey, so I want to map in the darker areas just with this owl, so I'm going to use the lighter tone grey. So I'm looking at the reference picture there, and they're roughly here like this, because then I'm going to map it all in white, and then I'll be able to see these through the white, hopefully. That's, and under here, that's his breast chested area, somewhere like that. Because with these we can scrumble them in. And on his head there's a lot of bits up here, so just scratch it in. Don't have to be too detailed. It'll all come together at the end of the painting. I'll guarantee you that. Have the edges all hairy and scratchy. This is just blocking the owl in, okay? If you have a nice easy way you feel you want to do it, by all means do it that way, but I'm just teaching it this way, alright? And the rest is pretty much grey. I'll leave his eyes blank, alright? So now I'm going to start blocking him in with titanium white, and I want the edges hairy, so I'll get the edges done first, just like that. I'm just using an old worn out flathead brush. Now I've cleaned this brush, I want to pick up some of the darker grey, and I've got a little brush to blend them. Now we've mapped it in, so we'll start back up here. So we'll get this hair all scratchy out there the way you want it. Alright, bring it to that white. That white is still going to be painted some more, but now we want to get that to the white there. Grab your other blending brush and just scrumble that together so it's a soft matching meat. Have yourself a cloth, something to wipe as you go. Don't press too heavy because you can go back to the bottom of your canvas and you don't want to do that. So we've just created that light merging of the two colours. I can see a bit here we've lost a bit, so I'll put a bit back. There we go. It's just a matter of stamping it on and blending that together. And our highlights will sharpen everything back, put things in front and behind each other. Now we'll get some of this one here, and it's the same here. So we're virtually doing that. We'll do one side at a time so we don't get lost. Grab a little blending brush and merge that into his... You're merging all the edges virtually, okay? That's one side done. Now we're going to look, I'm looking at that reference picture to get an idea where I want the rest of the dark. Now we'll get, where are we? That's what, so this is all pretty much dark coming up here, so I'll stamp it on. That way I'm not pushing it into the white, and we'll quickly grab my blending brush, and I want to merge that into that white colour now. Just like that. Move your brush on the angle the strokes look in the picture, and then we'll start just everywhere where the picture has dark pieces. We'll put all them in now. So I'm looking at it there, he's got some bits on the eye here, so we'll stamp them in and we'll pull them back on that brush strokey angle. Because we've got to put a bit more darker on this and then highlight it with the lighter colours. Now at this stage you've virtually got the white and the darker tone grey blended in like this. Now we're going to get some even darker pieces in there like this owl's got, okay? And we'll start shaping all the highlights the way they are. So that grey that I had, I want to put the littlest of black with it. Don't kill it too much because we might have to go back to that grey as we're detailing this owl. Got your other blending brush again. I've wiped that, washed it. Now we're looking at our thing, and then we'll start getting some darker values here. okay, which will be coming up. You put them on lightly with that brush you've been blending and merge them. See how mine's wet? It's washing it in there. Make sure it's dry. So I'm going to dry that a bit more. It's important to have blending brushes dry, and we'll get those darker colours on there again. Alright, I'm going to start at the top here, so I want to get, so I better put a bit more dark in that. It's not quite as dark as I would like it, because over this we want our highlights. So we're going to stamp our darker bits into the greys, leaving pockets of the middle tone grey, and we're going to walk that with the brush strokes backwards and forwards. I'm going like this. Now with this darker colour, don't worry if you've killed too much of your lighter grey there, because we can easily step toe that back into the picture, okay? Now I'm going to just turn the camera off and do the rest of this so as I'm not boring you to death. But that's what I'm going to do for the rest of his body, okay? Now I'm getting some pure black and just getting the main areas from my display picture, reference picture, and putting the really darker bits on a bit at a time. Like that, so that's more dark than the colours we've just put on there. There's just some little pockets here. So this is just straight black. Now what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing that black again before we put our highlights on. I'm getting it on that brush and I'm squashing the edge of that brush, making it all worn. And I want to lightly get these dark hairs coming out like I've done here, just so we got a nice hairy edge, and merge them into the picture a bit. Don't stamp them on too thick so as they've got big blobs, because this is just his little feathery edge coming at the edge of his body there. There we go, that'll do. Don't have to get too carried away. Now he's looking a bit lifeless at the moment, so let's start bringing the highlights on. Before I go to the white, I'm just grabbing the lighter tone grey on that same brush I was using. Scrunch the end of it up a bit. I'm looking at my reference now, and I want to, virtually where I want the white to become, I'm going to use this first. See how I'm sinking those black colours back? Just like that. And then we'll highlight over this grey, so it will come down. Where does that go? Sink that black bit back next to his beak. And then we can look in the actual bird, the reference picture, and find the bits that are highlighted. We're highlighting it with the grey first. There's some down here. And then we'll just highlight it. Now I've given that a brief dry, and I'm picking up the white on that same brush now. Now this is where you want to get detail-y with your white. So I've got to start from here, and I want to bring that over. This is the highlighter bits. And that's going to come and feather out there. See, if I didn't dry it, it'll start mudding up with the darker colours, and you don't want that. So we got these flicking up there. Is that coming out white? Yeah, that's coming out all right. And a bit from his eye. I'll put his eye in later. That's why I haven't done his eye yet, because I want to use bits to sink back. We'll go to this side now and do the same here. Over those, leaving some of the grey. going over his, flicking it up so it's making those big long politician eyebrows, you know. Now I want to do the eyes and the beak, so I'm just grabbing a precision brush to block it in white. I want the edges nice and sharp. Okay, I've blocked it in. He's looking a bit weird and dumb at the moment. I'm going to try the Indian yellow. You can either use Indian yellow or a yellow oxide. We'll just see how this is going to go for his beak colour. Because, yeah, just as I thought, this Indian yellow is very transparent, the one that I bought. Now, let's see. I've dried this as well. I don't want it to pull the white off. Let's see what this yellow oxide's going to do. And then I can probably skim some of the transparent Indian yellow over this. So I want the edge of this nice and sharp now, because this beak is sitting on top of his feathers. So we'll get it nice, pointy and sharp, like that. Take your time. And then we'll put a highlighted ridge in the middle of his beak, just to make it look real. So there's our beak blocked in. It's looking a bit brown. I'm going to just wipe the brush. I'll just see what a bit of that yellow is going to do. Yeah, that's all right. I'm just mucking around here, because that's the colour of it in the picture, and it looks good, that colour. Okay, we've done the beak. Now I'm going to wipe the brush, pick up some white, titanium white, and we'll get that highlight coming down the centre of his beak there. You've got to stamp it on because everything's wet, but I want it wet so it'll merge. This is like a little filbert brush I'm using here, if you wanted to know, but just something like that. I'll stop, I'll wipe that little filberty brush, and if you want, you can just tease the edge of that white, see, like that, and sit it down into your yellow colour there. When it's dry, I might highlight the middle of that beak a bit more. Now just doing the same for the eyes. I'll get this where I want the eye colour. I'm not worried about the black. And then we'll dress this eye up, both of them, with the eyeliner, with the detail of the eye. But we're getting all the inside colours in first. So there's that one. And this one here. Get the edges nice and sharp. And the point, well, this one's pretty much dark all the way there, so this one's mainly all on this side. Now what have we got in there? Now I'm going to wipe the brush, get some of the yellow oxide into that as well, just to change the colours a bit. Like that. And the same on this one. Now this one's more yellow, so what I'll do, I'm going to put that there, pick up some of the white, oh yeah, some of the good quality titanium white, and highlight that colour there the way it is in the display picture, and down this side as well. Couple of nostrils in there. I've re-highlighted that beak. Now we want to get his eyeball in there, nice and sharp. And then we'll put the, like the black eyeliner he's got around his eye. And everything's sunken back in its own order. Well, if I did the eyeball first, it would have been a bit hard getting those detailed coloured orange bits or yellowy bits in his eye, you see. This one's all the way around here, nice and tight across there, nice and tight across here. Now even this black has the finest detail, which makes the picture look quite nice as well. So I'm going to grab another rounder brush now. I've dampened it a bit, and I want to still pick up this black because I want to line in his eye now. Very small if you can help it. And try not to get a scratched edge. Try and make this nice and sharp on the edges there, and you'll have a beautiful looking owl. Just finishing the detail in his eyes here. It's got a bit of darkness coming down. I want to black it, and then I'll use the grey to make it pop. That'll do. Now I'm going to quickly wash that brush and pick up the grey that I got there. A bit of the darker colour grey, because that's not exactly black, it's the darker colour grey. There we go. Get that up there. I've dried his eyes, and I want to pick up some of the titanium white from a tube. Just get it onto the brush and wear it off, so as we can get some glare in his eyes, just like so. Okay, and the same on the other side. Now we pick up that white again, maybe with the tiniest of water so it'll flow, because we want to put the white highlights around his eyes now, which he has a white band somewhere here. And where's he got one on the other eye? This is just to make them pop. Some in there and a bit underneath. Okay. Now just to finish him off, I've got some burnt sienna on a flat brush, and we'll just put the resemblance of a, let's say, a side tree here. We'll get the side about there, and we'll give him his branch. His feet are there, so I haven't done his feet yet. That's why I haven't done his feet yet. And we'll probably just bring that up there. Now, have your brush a bit wet and massage it back into your paint, just so as we can get these branches nice and sharp on the edges. And we'll give them a simple highlight as well, because the moon's to our left. Where's this branch? Okay, that's still tacky and a bit wet. I'm just gonna, I'll give the brush a bit of a wipe. I'll pick up some white, and I want to, about here, and merge that into that brown. Get that edge nice and sharp. I'll give the brush a bit of a damp, so it's going to flow here. And I just want to get some of this highlighted like that. I want to kill the white. I don't want it to be white. I just want it lighter brown. That's it. And see, when the acrylic's tacky, you can get it going like that. I'll just fix this bit here up. It looks a bit... There you go. And we'll put some down here a bit, just on the elbow of the branch, or the armpit of the branch, and we'll blend that out there like so. I'll put a bit of water on the brush so it's going to flow a bit better. I want to do the same sort of here as well. Boom, just, and if it's too much light I can come back with that darker colour and darken it up a bit. There we go, that'll do it. I'm going to darken it up a bit under him because I feel it's too bright there. But we just got a reasonable highlight on there. I'll put the dioxazine purple and a bit of blue on the edge there, and I've just darkened it in so we have a darker, and it's all under here as well. So I want to get some of this darker here, putting the, there we go, put it on and grab the other brush and scrumble it together. Just need to finish this little fella off now, so we'll find his feet. I could see the impressions that I put with the pen, so I'm virtually putting 3 round ends there like that. There's one foot. Where's the other one? Somewhere around here. So we'll make 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just merge those feet with some darker black, just like that. Join them on. Okay, that's his bottom of his body there. Sink those feet back down so they don't look so silly. You get a bit of grey and merge that a bit. There we go, we've got his legs in there. Now I'm just grabbing a small pointy round brush, really making the paint a bit wet, just so we can put some nice pointy sharp claws on him. Just like that. I'll just autograph this very small one I want here. I'm just using the yellow oxide, one of the mediums that's already within the painting. We'll put a frame on this and take the tape off. Don't forget to look at the links in the description below. You can add me on Facebook, there's a Patreon's page, and hope you enjoyed this quick exercise. It wasn't a quick one, but it's a beginner's one. It's something you can play around with, alright? So if you like what I've done, you tell your friends, but if you don't, you tell everybody, alright? I've got to pop out of here now, so all the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya!